The couriers started their monthly early shift and stopped at a burger joint to get breakfast. Little did they know, a robber was waiting for them outside with a gun. The robber said it was a minor robbery. In Los Angeles, the real-life model for GTA's Los Santos, banks get robbed 2,400 times a year, 44 times a week, and 9 times a day. In other words, a bank gets robbed every 48 minutes. An empty armored truck arrives at a donut shop early in the morning. As the truck is parked, a well-coordinated group of robbers ambushes it. They quickly neutralize the guards and seize control of the vehicle. The robbers didn't waste any time. Using a diamond drill, they made a small hole in the armored car's windshield. They attached the drill with a strap and revved the engine, pulling the windshield out. The courier inside, scared, spilled coffee as he instinctively reached for his gun. The robber noticed this and warned him not to resist. Robbery and murder are two different things, but the situation had escalated. The robbers hurriedly gathered their loot and left, prompting the store employees to call the police. The police were expected to arrive in 30 seconds. The robbers blew open the back door of the armored car, but as the sirens grew closer, they had to shoot back to slow down the police. When the police arrive at the scene, they find the aftermath of the violent heist. The area is filled with chaos. The police quickly returned fire, taking out a few police cars. The robbers, with their superior firepower, held their ground but eventually decided to flee. Jack was furious, questioning his teammates about the shooting, as it could jeopardize future heists. If the police tightened their security, their plans would be ruined. Detective Ray, arriving at the scene, was puzzled. The robbers were clearly professionals, so why did they seem to mess up? He guessed they might have been forced to improvise in a public place, which limited their options. In this city, strange things often happen. Why rob an empty armored car? Ray felt there must be more to it. He and his team analyzed the situation. Meanwhile, the robbers had someone return to the scene to throw Ray and his team off track. They needed to understand how the local law enforcement operated, as any mistake could cost them their lives. Jack and his gang study the habits, routines, and capabilities of the police officers. This reconnaissance allows Merriman to understand his adversaries better. After a bizarre robbery, Ray decided to look into recently released criminals. He found Donnie at a bar and, after a brief conversation, suspected Donnie was hiding something. Ray didn't want to scare him off, so he waited until Donnie left the bar before approaching him. When Donnie woke up, he wasn't in a police station but at home, with signs of a party from the night before. Not knowing who these people were, Donnie tried to assert his innocence. Ray then slapped a photo of Donnie meeting Jack in his face, revealing that he had been caught on camera. Realizing these were cops, Donnie tried to deny everything, but Ray pressed him for information. Ray, different from other cops, made it clear that Donnie needed to cooperate. If he did, Ray could ensure his freedom. Reluctantly, Donnie confessed he was just the driver and knew little about the heists. He worked as a bartender most of the time and only drove when told. Ray and his team use aggressive and intimidating tactics to extract information from Donnie about Jack's crew and their plans. Despite the rough treatment, Donnie eventually begins to cooperate, giving Big Nick insights into the heist crew's operations. This encounter reveals the intense pressure and high stakes involved in the cat-and-mouse game between the police and the robbers. When Donnie is first spotted at Merriman's house, he is brought into a tense and intimidating environment. The crew is cautious and skeptical about Donnie, so they question him thoroughly to assess his loyalty and competence, allowing him to join their team. A week later, they robbed a bank, using a chemical solution to check for marked bills. When they found the marked bills, they microwaved them to destroy the marks. There was a debate among the robbers about what to do with the money. Some wanted to spend it, while others wanted to invest in better equipment. Ultimately, Jack, the mastermind behind the crew, cuts through the argument with a decisive plan. He proposes a big heist, one that would be so lucrative it could set them up for life. Ray, letting Donnie go, made him promise to inform on the robbers' activities. Jack didn't know Donnie had been caught. He told Donnie about their next target, the Federal Reserve Bank. The bank had advanced security systems, including voice and image recognition. The robbers had to carefully plan their entry and exit. Despite claims of a backup generator, the bank system would switch to a vulnerable mode, heavily guarded facility, bypass its advanced security systems, and escape with millions of dollars in untraceable cash. Jack explains that the key to the heist is accessing the money before it's officially recorded in the bank systems. This involves infiltrating the counting room where cash from various sources is processed and stored temporarily before being entered into the Federal Reserve's records. Jack outlines a meticulously timed escape plan. After securing the cash, the crew exits the bank through the same loading dock. To avoid immediate suspicion, the crew disperses and follows a prearranged protocol for laundering the stolen money and covering their tracks. Jack stresses the importance of maintaining low profiles and avoiding unnecessary risks after the heist. Donnie, being the least suspicious member, was tasked with infiltrating the bank. Donnie meticulously prepared for his role. He studied the routines and behavior of the actual food delivery personnel who frequented the bank, learning their routes, mannerisms, and even their interactions with the security staff. This preparation was crucial for him to blend in seamlessly. Posing as a food delivery worker, he hid equipment in a bathroom ceiling. Ray, a seasoned and sharp-eyed detective, he noticed something odd that piqued his interest. This suspicion began to form a hypothesis in his mind, suggesting that the robbers might be planning something much larger than their usual jobs. To confirm his suspicions, Ray tried to approach the robbers again. This time, he encountered them in a restaurant and chatted briefly. Sensing something was wrong, Jack's team searched Donnie for a bug but found nothing. Jack pulled out a gun and pointed it directly at Donnie's face. His eyes were cold and unwavering, the barrel of the gun only inches away from Donnie's head. Jack began his interrogation, his voice low and menacing. "Have you been talking to the cops?" he demanded. "Why are they on to us? Are you the rat?" Each question was designed to provoke a reaction, to see if Donnie would crack under pressure. Donnie convinced them he hadn't betrayed them and suggested they proceed with the heist as planned. Determined to catch Jack and his team, Ray went to the gun club while Jack was there. Despite the underlying tension, Ray walked calmly towards Jack, who was practicing at one of the shooting lanes. The gun club was a dimly lit, testosterone-fueled environment, filled with the sounds of gunfire, the smell of gunpowder, and the sight of hardened men testing their marksmanship. The place was frequented by those who thrived on adrenaline and danger, making it the perfect setting for a showdown between Ray and Jack. To further assert his dominance, Ray picked up a nearby gun and fired a series of shots at a target, hitting the bullseye with each one. The display of skill was a clear message to Merriman. He was not just a cop, but a formidable adversary who could match them in skill and determination. Later on, Ray then goes to a strip club and goes home with a stripper. Unaware the stripper was hired by Jack to examine his phone handset. He and Jack share an awkward stare. Ray's realization is immediate, and he feels the discomfort of being duped. As Ray understands that Jack's crew is always a step ahead and willing to use any means to gather intelligence on him. The awkwardness of the moment emphasizes Ray's vulnerability and the high stakes of the cat-and-mouse game between him and Jack. Ray, determined to catch the robbers. As the day of the heist comes, Jack and his crew invade a commercial bank branch and take hostages. They demand $10 million and a chopper within an hour. Ray's team is outside tracking Jack's crew as the chaos unfolds. The LAPD police chief calls and speaks to Joseph, the bank's branch manager, on behalf of Jack. To discourage further time-wasting communications, Jack has one of the crew take a hostage to a back room and shoot her. The police negotiator then agrees not to communicate again until the money and chopper are about to arrive in over an hour's time. The thieves then blow the vault open and escape through a hole in the floor before Ray's team come in. They also find that the shooting of the hostage was staged. The thieves needed commercial bank cash so they can make a cash drop-off at the Federal Reserve, the only way to get inside the Federal Reserve building. Donnie is hidden inside a cash dolly delivered to the Federal Reserve building by Jack, and he slips out during a falsely tripped alarm to collect the targeted old bills that have been earmarked for shredding, and he stashes them in bags in the refuse. After escaping the cash count rooms through the air ducts, Donnie retrieves the bag of food from the bathroom ceiling. Appalled by the cold, old food, the unsuspecting Federal Reserve employee who orders Chinese food daily tries to get security to stop him, but Donnie is gone. The cash is dispatched from the Federal Reserve Building in a waste management truck that removes shredded bills. Ray's team catch up to Donnie and seize him, beating him until he tells them where Jack is going. Jack and his teammates try to make their escape with bags from the waste truck. They hit a traffic jam and are blocked. Ray's team spots them and attempts to shoot them as the robbers try to escape. After warning other drivers, the police start to shoot at Jack and his gang. His teammates are shot dead, but Jack gets away. Ray gives chase and shoots Jack through a fence, wounding him. Ray hops the fence to catch him, but Jack refuses to go out quietly. He raises an empty gun to Ray, forcing him to shoot him. As Jack lies on the floor dying, Ray kneels by him. He reminds Ray that he kept to his word and dies peacefully. When Ray inspects Merriman's van, he only finds bags with shredded paper. He also finds that Donnie has escaped custody. Ray later goes to Donnie's bar and sees pictures of him with some of the crew members from the heist. Through flashbacks, it is revealed Donnie masterminded the heist to get all of the cash for himself. The realization hits Ray. After the passage of some time, Donnie is seen in London working at another bar. His crew is nearby having drinks and enjoying the spoils of their victory.